Well, hi there, my stamping friends. Welcome to my second episode of How to Stamp Cards for Beginners. I'm glad that you are here with me today. Before I get started, I just want to make sure that you can see me and that you can hear me. So if you can pop something into that chat box and just let me know that you can hear me, that would be fantastic. I want to make sure that you can see everything on my grid paper here, including the measurements. I guess I'm going to move this down just a hair. If I have any camera problems, I'm just going to come back live. All right, there we go. I think that works. So I want to make sure that you can see everything on my grid paper here. I want to make sure that you can see me in your box on the bottom of your screen, and I want to make sure that you can hear me okay. So if you have any problems, that if you can hear me, put it into the chat box. I really appreciate it. So I can see that some people are on, so they must be able to hear me, so that's wonderful. Welcome everybody to the Stamping Studio. Tonight is the second episode of Stamping 101. I am Rose Ellen Eastman from My Stamping Friends, and I'm glad you're here with me. Hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining. So, last time I did this, I will show you the cards we did in case you missed it, in case you haven't seen it. I'm going to move Timeless Tulips. That's what we did. That's what we're going to work on today. So we used a simple stamp set and we made some very basic cards. The first one was just a solid white card, which I wonder if somebody borrowed from me. Ah, here it is. All right. So the first one was just a solid white card. The second one was this one. We added in a black layer just to make it a little more elegant. The third one, we used our trimmer to make some score marks on there. I hope you can see those. And then the fourth one, we decided we would add a little color. Right, so we did two-step stamping, and we added one color, which was this daffodil. So a really nice transition from the very beginning to a little bit more polished, to having a little design and adding some color. Now tonight we're going to do kind of the same thing, presuming that you've got white paper and Daffodil Delight paper. We're going to move on to some more flowers tonight. This is a photopolymer stamp set that we're going to use with Timeless Tulips. This also comes with a punch, a tulip builder punch, which I can show you right here. So when you stamp something, you'll be able to cut it out. But I want to show you the catalog we have right here. So let's see, if I open it up to page 21, now I marked that page for you guys. This is the stamps that we're going to be using. Stampin' Up! Always gives you some very easy to duplicate samples up there, and it tells you what else would coordinate. So you can tell by this right there that there's a punch. See how this is like a little bit darker? There's an outline around it, that there's a punch that goes along with that. For example, there's a punch that goes along with these two, and there's a punch that goes along with those three. So that's how you can tell if there's a punch in the Stampin' Up! Catalog, or a die, depending on what color it is. So I guess we can just get started while I'm pulling everything together. If you guys don't mind sharing this video or giving me a thumbs up, if you click the little notification bell, you'll know when I go live. You can subscribe to my channel if you get something out of this. I would really appreciate it, because then I get to do more stuff and share more stuff with you guys. Okay, so our first card for today, we are going to presume again that we have the same Daffodil Delight cardstock, and starting from the very beginning, this is a half of a sheet of cardstock, right? So it is 11 by 4 1/4. So the regular sheets of cardstock are 8.5 by 11. I just cut it in half, and I scored it in half at 5 1/2. So I'm going to fold my corners. If you remember from last time, fold my corners, because a score line is just a suggestion. Pinch that, and I'm going to use my bone folder or my finger if you don't have a bone folder, but this is a bone folder, and they're fantastic for making these creases in cards. Really nice and sharp. So this is the card base layer. The front of the card is going to be 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. You can see the little measurements. This is why I hold it down here, so you can see what the measurements are, just in case you can't hear me. Jordan, thank you very much for sharing. I appreciate that. So the next layer up, which would be the first layer, there's the card base and the first layer. The first layer is going to be 5 1/4 by 4. And the reason why I did this is in the beginning, when I'm teaching you guys how to make these cards, all of the measurements are going to be in quarters. You can do a lot more later on with whatever measurements you want, but go ahead and just keep it with quarters right now. So this one is 5 1/4 by 4. And this is what we're going to start stamping on right off the bat. So I'm going to grab my stamp set. This one is a photopolymer, and it's a distinctive stamp. So you can tell right here the images are 95%. So in real life, the stamps are just a touch larger than that. But what this is photopolymer. It's clear. Now I've used these with some reds and pink inks, but you can tell this one right here is clear. Right? So I'm going to grab that. This is the side with the image on it, and this is the flat side. I'm just going to put the image side down, flat side up. And I'm also going to grab that, which is the stem, and I'm going to grab some leaves. Actually, I'll hold the leaves for the next card because we're going to make more than one tonight. All right, so put that off to the side, and now remember to, when you've got these stamps on there, you can just hold the block right on top of it and push down. So that's how you know that the stamp is on the block. And for this one, I have a long clear block. Now, the good thing about this one is if you wanted to, since it's photopolymer, you could bend this and put it on your block in a curve, or you could make it like into an S shape. That's the great thing about these like long, thin ones. For now, I'm just going to use it as a straight stem. And if you can see, this has a flat edge right here. That's the part that's going to go up to the bottom of the stamp once you do that. Actually, no, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to use the smaller stamp for this first card we do. It's just a different size tulip right there. Again, I'm just going to press on that. Now, these are stained, but that's fine. It doesn't affect this card or its stamping at all. Now, along with that daffodil cardstock that we also got the daffodil ink pad, remember? Because when you're going to get something, you should always get it in all of the colors. When you're going to get a certain color, you're going to get all of the items you need in that color. So if you're going to buy the daffodil ink, you should buy the refill, and you should get the cardstock as well, so you'll have everything you need all at once. To remember to open it up, you're going to press those 3 buttons, flip it over, and slide it to lock it into place. Whoop. Just push that one back. So for this, what I'm going to do is we're going to do a technique called second generation stamping. I'm going to tap, tap, tap to ink it up. Here, I've got a little scrap piece right here just to show you what it looks like. Still yellow. It doesn't affect, the pink on here doesn't affect the stamping at all, okay? So I'm going to tap, 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 and I'm going to stamp kind of here. And then, without re-inking, I'm just going to stamp a little bit off to the side. Do you see how it's got a very light image right there? Oh, got a little ink on there. And that's okay, we're going to cover it up anyway, so don't worry about it. If you want to, though, don't forget that you can always flip this over and start again. I'm just going to wipe off my finger and keep going. So that's second generation. If I wanted to, I could stamp it again and get third generation. It would be very, very light, though. Okay, so I'm just going to keep on going. How about one right there? And then I'll do another second generation. And then, since I did put my finger in that right there, I'm going to stamp there. And then second generation. And if you want to, you can even stamp off the page, which is another technique that you can use, especially if you've put your finger in the ink. See how it's brighter right there? You can just take that and stamp on it again. Now, and then keep going with the second generation. Now, what I want you to do is stamp the entire thing all the way across. So if you don't like this, don't forget, flip it over and we'll start again. So, stamp and second generation. Stamp, second generation. All the way across. Doesn't matter where you do it, because we're going to be adding stems in. Now, I'm just going to put this under here because I don't want to get my grid paper all inky yet. I know that's what grid paper is for, but I just don't want to get it inky just yet. So that, and then second generation. Now I'm just going to fill in the bottoms as well because these flowers shouldn't just be floating, right? We're making a whole field of them. So just keep stamping. Ink, second generation, full strength, second, and you can keep going if you want to. Now where you've got the third, and just fill in the bottoms, okay? So it's a nice little field of flowers there. We've got our stem, and this time I'm going to add in one more color, Pear Pizzazz. You can use whatever green you've got, Granny Apple, or whichever one you've got at home. Now remember, this is the top because it's got the flat edge and it's going to go right up to that. I'm just going to, because I know I'm not using the whole stem, I'm just going to ink up the top here. And I'm going to turn it sideways because that's a little easier for me. Well, I'm just going to get ink on here, that's fine. Now I can see through the top of that, and I can see the top of that flower. And I am just going to grab the front couple of flowers and put stems on them. See how that's working? If you had just done single flowers, it would look like they were floating. Now you can do the same second generation ink. I'm just trying to hit the first generation ink first with the darkest color. Now if you wanted to, what you would do for the next one is stamp on here, stamp on there, because that gets the first bit of ink off, and then you can put second generation ink. See, it's just a little bit behind. Stamp on there, and where is one? There's one in the back there. Does it look like a field of flowers yet? Hey Aria, thanks for joining. I hope you're doing well. And there's one back there in the background. So you can just put these on randomly, or you can go along with the flowers that you've put on there. That's fine. And there's one right there. Okay, so that is how we're going to start this card. We're going to put a sentiment on there. So we're going to go back to, actually I'm going to put it in, yellow. It's going to be super light. I'm sorry, I'm changing my mind. I'm putting it in green. Normally I put it in the sentiment in the color that I'm going to make the background, but we're making the background yellow, and that's fine. So I get to pick whatever I want on here. How about happy birthday, because we're using a lot of birthday cards lately. So I'm just going to take this off, find the one that says happy birthday, put it down, and I'm going to just press on here to get it attached. I put it on crooked because if I put it on straight, I'm going to try and get the whole thing straight, and it won't work that way. So tap, tap, tap to ink it up. And you can practice on here if you want. That's what that's for. See what it's going to look like. Make sure that it's right side right. Because believe it or not, the word happy in script looks right upside down a little bit and right side right. You can't just glance at it. So tap, tap, tap. We're going to just put a happy birthday right there in the center. And that's the front of your card already completed. The daffodil that I have folded right here, I've pulled out, and I've got my Stampin' Seal. I'm just going to put adhesive on the back. Now remember, this is two-sided tape, so I'm going to hold it. There are finger grips right here. I'm going to hold it, I'm going to touch down, and I'm going to drag a little bit and then pull it up. There are little lines in the tape. Hope you can see them. And I'm going to just attach it to here. So this, I want to make sure it's opening that way. And I'm going to put the card right like that. So see, this is a very nice, simple, two-color card. Now, on this one, before I give it to somebody, I'm going to take another piece of white in this size, which, do you remember, it's 5 1/4 by 4, and I'm going to put it in here so that you can have something to write on. Since this is a yellow card, you could just write right there on the yellow card, but you don't have to, so put in a piece of white. So there's our first card done for today. Fun, right? So this was called second generation stamping, and we've got 2 colors going on. 1 card down. Now, we're not going to make 4 this time, we're going to make 2, but I'm going to show you some other ones. So this was the card that I modeled that on, second generation stamping. This is the one I just made. And to show you another sample of second generation stamping, there's this one. So this is a bunch of tulips that haven't like fully bloomed yet. So I jazzed this one up by putting in another layer. Right, so I had a melon mambo card base. I did a layer of daffodil and then white. I added a third color. I added a bow around, and that's just on there with a glue dot. And then on here, I've raised it up with some dimensionals. I introduced dimensionals last week, and we'll use them again today. And that's just a simple inside. So that's just another way to jazz it up. If you don't have all those supplies, don't worry about it, because you can make a card this simple with 2 colors, right? Green, which the one I used was Pear Pizzazz, and Daffodil Delight was the yellow I used on this card. This one was it's an older retired color. We don't have that one anymore. All right, so there's that card. The second card we're going to make, and hang on to your tights for this one because this is a fun one. All right, so I have got a piece of Daffodil Delight, 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. So we're going to do this one more time. Fold this in half. Now, since you don't have very many supplies, just as a beginner, we're going to do some fun folds. Oh, that just moved a little bit. There we go. Okay. Because you don't need many supplies to do a fun fold. Now remember, what I told you last time we did this on the very first one was there's 3 things you need to make a card, right? You're going to need stamps, ink, and paper. If you have more disposable income to get more items, the things I would get next are a trimmer and adhesive, in that order. Because if you have a trimmer, you can obviously cut all the papers. Once you have adhesive, you can trim your layers smaller and start adding them up. So there's our card base. Now our next piece is a piece of Whisper. Here, I'm going to just get this out of the way right here. It's a piece of Whisper White, but this one I trimmed a little bit. This one is 3 3/4 by 10 1/2. And I grabbed my trimmer here. Show you guys what I'm up to. Grabbed my trimmer. Make sure you guys can see that. All right, so since this one was a little bit shorter, I went ahead and I scored it at different numbers than I normally would, but we're doing a fun fold, so it's not going to be the normal numbers to cut it in half like you would on a card base. So this one right here, we are going to score at 4 1/4. Now I'm going to move the sharp blade out of the way. I'm just going to use the scoring. 4 1/4. 5 1/4. You see, I just moved it up to 5 1/4. Score it again. And then 6. Oh, I don't think that scored all the way. And then I'm going to do it at 6 1/4. So I'm going to open up my arm, extend that, so I can see 6 1/4. Right there. 6 1/4. And I'm going to, going to score it there. Okay, so I have 3 score marks on there. The first one that I'm going to do is the center fold, and I'm going to just fold that in half. Okay? Did I just get ink on there? No, I'm good. The next 2, they are 1 inch in. What I'm going to do is fold back. Now I'm trying to be careful because I'm using white cardstock. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to fold it back again. Okay? So you have what looks like a W. You guys see that W fold right there? Perfect. So this is going to get attached to the inside of our base. There's a couple of different ways to do this, of course, but the way I'm going to do it, this is how you want your card to be at the end, but before we place it in, you're going to just put it in like this. Only put adhesive on this big piece here. You're not going to put it to the left of this score line at all. Okay. And you're going to hold this place it, just gently place it towards that center fold. You're going to want to make sure you're like even from top to bottom here, okay? But we're just going to put that like that looks right to me. And I'm going to let go and I'm going to fold it and press it in. Now all that did was stick down that bottom piece, right? So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put adhesive just on this larger piece. Oh, I just finished my adhesive, so you're going to get to see what happens next. And then I'm going to just fold that down again. So you see how that's in there? Pop that up, and now you'll see the W again. See the W? So this is your card. We're going to set it off to the side, and we're going to work on the front. Grabbed a piece of first layer, 5 1/4 by 4, and we're going to stamp on that. So let's see, now I'm going to use that bigger tulip right here, and I'm going to use the Daffodil Delight. Push it open, flip it over, and lock it in place. And I am going to, let's see, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do both sizes, just to show you. All right, so I'm going to put one here and one here. Looks good. I'm going to put one, you can tell we're a dog-friendly family. One there, one there, and here. Now we don't have to do second generation flowers because this isn't a field. This is going to be more of a bouquet. I'm going to get the Pear Pizzazz because we have 2 ink colors on here. And I'm going to use the same piece of, stem. Sorry, I'm losing my words here. And I'm just going to line that up. Now, can you see all these little dots around there? That means I have ink on my clear block. So I am going to grab my cleaner, if it is where I left it, which it does not appear to be. Well, of course, it's not where I left it. It was me that left it somewhere. Nobody came downstairs. So I am just going to wipe that off because I don't want to rock it and get it on my card front. So another one right here. And another here. I'm going to use the same stem, and I'm going to do the smaller ones in the back. One, and they don't have to even be all even. Okay? And I want to rub that off. And now you can take another sentiment. And where is my, should I stick with happy birthday? I could if I wanted. About right up there. Okay, and I'm just going to set that off to the side for a sec. And I have one more piece for you guys of Whisper White. And this one is going to be 3, and, whoop, I got ink on me. 3 3/4 by 3 inches. Okay. There we go. And I'm going to turn it so that the 3 inches is on the bottom. And I'm going to grab another sentiment from my stamp set. And this one I'll choose, What a Beautiful Difference One Single Life Makes. I love that one. And that goes very well with a happy birthday. So again, face down on the block, face down on the table, flat side goes on the block. And I'm going to ink this in green and stamp it right up there. Got a little more ink on my fingers, so I'm making a mess tonight. Open this up. one big yellow tulip, 2 small yellow tulips. This Daffodil Delight is one of my favorite spring colors. Some stems on here. Let's see if you guys have figured out yet what I'm going to do. All right. Put away my ink pads, or at least get them out of here so I stop putting my fingers in them. I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip it over. Now what I like to do is, I know I'm going to be putting adhesive on this side, so I'm going to pinch that side and flip it over. Oh, you know what? I told you I finished this up. I felt it. So let me show you. This is actually a good time. This is the Stampin' Seal. Let me just show you. These pop open. Of course, not while I'm doing a live. No, they pop open. There we go. So I'm just going to pop this one out. And I already grabbed a new one because I knew I was towards the end. And this is our Stampin' Seal 152812. And rip the top open. It's like a little sealing bag. You can just pop it closed again. So this is what it looks like. There are 2 holes here, and they're going to match up with those 2 holes. So I'm just going to lay them in, right like that, and pop that top back on. And you're done. So now this can go in the trash because it's all done. Now let me get back to what side I was putting adhesive on. Okay, so I'm putting adhesive on this side here. Just going to put a little bit of a strip right there. I don't want to go more than 1 inch. And remember, when I'm saying something like that, you can use these grids right here. Each one of these is a 1/4 inch, so you could hold it with 4 little blocks and know that you won't go over 1 inch. All right, because you're going to use that center grid line, this main grid line on your paper. All right, so on this card base, that's the front. Now, right now, it doesn't matter which one's the front because it's exactly the same. But what I'm going to do is stick that right there. And now, if I fold it, you won't know if that's the fun part inside. And for my front of the card, put that on the front. I'm going to pop that open and lay it down. There we go. So that's a really nice happy birthday card. And when somebody pops it open, there you go. How fun is that? So you can write your message here. You can write your message there. You could even stamp more on the inside if you wanted to. That was totally fine. Now, if you were getting this as a bundle, if you were getting that stamp set and the punch, oh, I was just reading comments and I saw that Kathy said her pup is looking for me. Hi, Riley. So if you're going to get this punch with the stamp set, you're going to save 10%, by the way. So I'm going to show you one more cool thing to do with the punch. Actually, 2 more cool things to do with the punch. I'm just going to grab some Whisper White scrap I have right here. And I am going to stamp some more tulips right here. I'm going to do... Now, one thing you want to learn when you are stamping, don't just stamp anywhere on the paper, because you are going to take this and slide it in. I haven't talked to you guys about punches yet, but you are going to basically slide this in. So you want the image to be somewhere around here, okay? So I'm going to do one image here, and then how about one more there? And then I'm going to turn my paper and I'm going to do one right here. All right, that's going to let me cut out 3 of these. Oh, sorry. So now these are our punches. This is a locked punch right now. What we're going to do is unlock it like that. And do you see how there's a place where you can put the paper right there? Hope you can see that. I'm going to put this in. And I'm going to just center it in the punch. I always use my punches upside down. And I know this is a light color, but you can see where there's a little white outline around the whole image of the flower. And what I'm going to do is I'm kind of pushing it a little bit just to put some pressure on there so I can't pull it out. But if I wanted to, I could loosen it a little bit and just move it around ever so slightly, okay? So punch that out. And then I'm just going to do the same with these. I might use all three, I might not. Let's see, we're going to just line that one up. Am I doing okay on time? Whoops, pop that out. I think I am doing all right on time. And up, third one. I am also going to take the leaf stamp I was talking to you about before. We have 3 stamps, and you'll notice that one of them, right here, matches this. So I am going to take out the one that matches the punch, put it face down so I can mount it on a stamp, and then I'm just going to take out one more. I think I'll just take out this one. It doesn't really matter which one I use for the other one. Alrighty. I'm going to put this on here. Now what I'm going to do, I should have done it, well, I should have done a second card to show you, and I will, but I'm going to take this, open up my green, and just stamp a leaf on here. I should have done it before we attached it. So what I'm going to do is just line that up so I don't stamp any green on the yellow part of the card. Okay. So just keep putting some leaves on here, like that. I'll just do one there. And you can even flip it over if you want like a tinier bit of a leaf up there, make it look like it's further away. Okay, like that. And on this piece of scrap, I'm going to stamp one more leaf. Now look at the punch and see which side that's on. So I'm going to put it onto this side. Oh, and I'm going to make sure that it's going in the right direction, right? I just had it upside down. It wouldn't have punched the right way. Put it like that. 1, 2. So 1 in there. I'm going to bite it a little bit. Remember, that's just putting a little pressure on that punch. And pop it out. And this one, put a little pressure on that punch. Pop it out. We are almost done with our card, friends. So don't forget that if you've gotten anything out of this, you can hit subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you can also click the notification bell for when I go live. You can get notified. Close up that Pear Pizzazz ink, and I'm going to grab, let's see, maybe I'll just start with 1 flower for now. And these are dimensionals. They are 6-sided, just two-sided foam tape, but with 6 sides. So I'm going to put some on that. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to leave that paper on the top. I'm going to put that on there. And now I'm going to pull the paper off the top. I'm going to float that right on top of there. Just give it a little extra dimension. These are mini dimensionals, so same thing. There's just more on a page because they're tinier. And I'm going to take one and put it up in the corner, the edge, I guess I should say. It's not really a corner. Pop these little pieces of paper off. Now, if you don't have fingernails, mine are not very long, you can also press down, and that makes the paper pop up. So I can put one like that, and the other one, 1, 2, 3 dimensionals on the back. 1, 2, 3 pieces of paper taken off, and the other one like that, or put it like that, or put it on another flower, wherever you want it to be, just to give a little dimension to your card. Now, if you wanted to, you could take these and pop all of them up. So we can do that to show you what it looks like. Now, what I meant before was if you were going to press down, and you could do it with like your poker tool, people press down and pull their paper up like that. Or you could do it with the other side, which is when people just press down on it. Let me hold it for you. If I press down on it, you could see that the paper pops up. Do you see that? And you can just flip it off. So push down. You could do it with your fingernail. Even if you don't have long ones, just press down on it. And just lay them right over the top of where you've already stamped. So believe it or not, friends, this is a beginner card. You just need the 2 ink colors. You need the stamp set and the punch. But this is a beautiful card even without the punch, right? Because the wow is on the inside. How cool is that? A pop-up card for adults. So another thing you can do with this punch is I made this card the long way. I added a little bit more twine and a little hello sentiment on there. And this whole piece is up on dimensionals. So this white piece has dimension, and then these have dimension, the leaves. And then the last one I want to show you is one that I even took to another level. I actually created these 3D flowers out of the punch, and I made the leaves longer, right? So you can do that with it. This was another punch we had that I was, actually this is the tulip punch, believe it or not. If you look at it, you can see how it lines up. The top of that lines up with that. So there's another use for the punch that we'll get into on another day, because right now we are just learning how to do some basic stamping. But there's more you can do. So these products will grow with you as you stamp, as you learn to use them more. So we started with a happy birthday card here. We moved on to this happy birthday pop-up card. And we have some extra, I'm just going to put that on there. We have some other samples to show you guys. And one more that's very similar to the happy birthday one we did. What do you guys think? I think you can do this. This is a very simple card to create, so it's fantastic for new beginners, new stampers. We talked about the basics of how to put stamps on block, how to use 2 different colors, how to line up the photopolymer bottoms, and how to do the 2nd generation stamping, and even how to pop things up on dimensionals here just to give a little bit more oomph to your card. So we had quite a few lessons for beginners tonight in the Stamping 101 card class. I hope you guys have had some fun. And thank you guys for joining. Let me see if anybody has any questions real quick. Oh, hey, Kathy. Thank you for saying that. Hey, Darian. Thanks. And Annika. And Richard. Beautiful cards all around. I know that there is a person out there watching named Brianna that likes to have lots of different samples with one stamp set. So there's a few more on there for her. Oh, hey, Aria. I'm so glad you guys were able to join, and Jordan and Haley and Richard. All right, I think I got everybody. So if you want to see some more cards, don't forget to come back. I normally do this on Sunday night, the Stamping 101 at 8:30 on YouTube Live. And right before that on Facebook Live at 7:30, I do my regular class. And tonight's card, let me show you what we made tonight for anybody that missed it. These were the cards we made tonight. So it was just a blending brush technique that I was showing people tonight. But that is on my regular Facebook Lives. This is my Stampin' 101 class, learning how to use everything we've got, all the basics, how to do dimensions, how to do layers, adding things to jazz it up, punches, different colors. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I'm actually seeing how bright I am on there. So I'm going to work on my lights for next time. But again, thank you. And I will see you guys next Sunday. Or I go live on YouTube on Sunday nights at 8:30 and live on Facebook Sunday at 7:30 and Wednesday at 7:30. So feel free to find me and hop on and leave some comments. And if you have any questions or if there's something you want to learn how to do, send me a message or post a comment here. That's totally fine. Don't forget to like the channel, subscribe to it, hit the notification bell, share the video with your friends. Yeah, all of that jazz. I love stamping with you guys. All right, until next time, I will talk to you later. Happy stamping. Bye-bye.